heat losses. So there are different risks, and in order to avoid these risks, the government has introduced certain legal mechanisms to avoid such situations. If possible, we try to insulate the houses or the facades from outside. If you're interested, I can explain to you after the presentation individually. I will not waste time explaining that. The materials are to be perceived as a single system, or in other words, we are talking about so-called sandwich panels. So let's skip a couple of slides that are explaining in great detail the technology and the theory behind these sandwich panels. However, considering that there are not that many architects or construction engineers among you, I do suppose I should skip the technical description and just visually show you that it's a serious thing and very interesting to the engineers who are closely involved in installation of the panels. So this slide shows you that also the color of the facade has impact on the end result. If you choose a darker or lighter color, you will get different results. I mean, from the use point of view or from the life cycle point of view, also the location in Latvia might give you different results. So the insulation consists of many materials. So this is the sandwich panel, as we call it in the industry. So there is an adhesive material for the installation or attaching the isolation material. There is glue, there is stitch filler, and so on and so forth. And in previous slides I was explaining what is the impact of the surrounding environment on each of the layers and on the panel as such. And only if we treat the panel as single system, we can be sure that there is going to be a useful result or constructive result, because we as producers of materials are always asked about warranty periods. And to be frank, I would say no warranty is available, because as soon as we produce the panel, we have no responsibility over installation, how it's going to be installed, who's going to be installed, and all of these aspects have an impact on the end result. If a guy with two left hands, as we say, comes, he can spoil everything, no matter how good the material is, and we can by no means forecast or predict the outcome of the process, because it's not in our hands. And we can clearly say to you as clients that we have tested our material, tested in an independent laboratory, not in our laboratory, and we have done that based on internationally accepted or certified methodology. And the methodology is the key words that I would like to bring to your ears and would like to sort of embed in your memories. So the only thing that you need to remember is the certification according to ITA, and the numbers that you see at the above ask for ITA certificates. So the construction workers that are about to replace the insulation on your house, ask them whether their materials are certified according to ITA certification. So these are all the requirements that you need to fulfill in order to get the certification according to ITA standard. It takes approximately 1.5 years, costs quite dearly, but it at least gives us the guarantees that these tests have been performed for the life cycle of 20 years, material life cycle of 20 years. And this can give us a good guarantee that our investment is not just money thrown out into the wind.
In accordance with this certification, of course, we should provide information about all the technologies used regarding installation of the system, and we also try to of course provide all the information regarding our methods and technologies. Of course, since we can also insulate old buildings, which is technologically more sophisticated, but still we can also retain the architectural value of such old buildings. Of course, there are certain cases where insulation is not permitted, while sometimes we can even heat insulate some old manors without losing the historic value. In other words, the heat insulation is not just a redecoration or cosmetic maintenance. Actually, this is a side effect, because what we have is a new and shiny and nice building while improving the heat efficiency. Thank you. So, just like previous